Recently, I've been seeing so many videos in my TikTok feed from POC people talking about their experience at predominantly white schools or institutions.
To the Black graduates who graduated from a PWI, what toll did that take on your mental health, and what advice do you have for us currently going through that process?
Seeing all of them reminded me of my experience. If you are somebody who is of color going to a school that is mostly white, this is the video for you. It would have been tremendously helpful for me to have somebody who already went through it, who knew what it was like, to just have some pointers, some tips, some advice on how to get through it and still be able to protect your mental health as best that you can. So we're gonna answer some questions and I'm going to give the best advice I can. So first off, like, Taylor, why would I even listen to you? Like, I understand you're black, but like, why would I come to you for advice about going to a predominantly white school? K through 12 for me, I went to predominantly white schools. That was not to say that my mom and my dad didn't want me to be around black people. I happened to live in places where the schools that I went to, the public schools that I went to, the private schools that I went to, didn't have a lot of black people. Or POC in general. I will give a disclaimer, I'm in a gap year, so I'm about to go to college this fall. So I don't have any experience about going to a predominantly white school, university, or college. However, my sister does, and there's a question in here where she's gonna give her input. I've always gone to a PWI, so it's harder for me to connect with POC, but I really want to. Advice? I really love that this person sent this because no one really talks about this part of going to a predominantly white school, especially if you've always gone to one. Whenever you're around a lot of white people, you take on their traits. You learn how to adapt and how to make friends with white people. You learn how to either shrink yourself or exaggerate yourself to survive around white people. So whenever it comes to making friends with other POC people, you don't have a lot of experience with your own culture. And I know it's really, really weird to say. Think about somebody who's homeschooled. If you're homeschooled all of your life, that doesn't mean necessarily that you don't have any social skills at all. But that kind of culture is different from a culture of going to a public school. At least this is how it was for me. I felt like whenever I really wanted more friends of color, I found myself being really, really nervous in their presence. Not because I was scared of them, not because I was afraid or anything like that, but because I was afraid of judgment from them, that I wasn't gonna be worthy to be their friend, because I didn't know, like I wasn't familiar with my own culture. In addition to being a POC, if you've always gone to predominantly white schools, there's also that insecurity of not having that connection with your own culture piled on top of that. To get to the question, first advice I will give you, be yourself. The same way you would make friends with anybody else, make friends with them. Do not worry about your the way you talk, the things you've probably been made fun of before about sounding too white, sounding too this, all that bullshit. Literally don't worry about it. The people that will be your friend will be your friend. The people who don't want to be your friend won't be your friend. And most importantly, reach out. Don't be afraid to sit down next to them and while you're having class, be like, oh, did you get the notes on that? By the way, my name is blah, blah, blah. And then create a friendship off of that. It's small things. Hand them a pencil, ask for a pencil, and just start that conversation. Because if you're going to a predominantly white school, other POC are looking for other POC friends. We gotta stay together out here. Once you have that friend in class, in school that you know you can go to, it makes the experience so much better. Like, it makes it so much better. This is juicy. Advice on losing to the conventionally pretty white girl. Unlocked insecurity. This is really, really hard, especially when it comes to if you have a crush. Having a crush in a PWI, literally whoever you have a crush on is hard. Because let's get into it. Let's spill some tea. The PWIs I've went to, it honestly didn't matter what race you were. Most people went after white girls. It got to the point where like every single crush I would have in high school would end up with a white girl, no matter their race. Like, even if they were black, I would never see them date other black girls. So I understand how you feel whenever you might have a crush or something. Maybe you're trying out for a play and you see that no matter how hard you worked, no matter how bomb you know you looked, because you did look bomb, at the end of the day, it feels like the white girl is always gonna win. I know that feeling so much, and it's really hard. I've even become like really good friends with some of my crushes, and thought they had feelings for me. Like I truly like thought they had feelings for me, and then they went and like dated like a white girl we barely knew. So I understand. Find hope in the fact that you're going to a PWI. Because of that, your world is closed. When you get out, there will be so many people chasing after you, you won't even know.
She really saying this like she got a bunch of people in her DMs. She is lying, but it's a true fact. Like, I saw a video one time where it was like, am I unattractive or do I just go to a PWI? You know what I mean? It's like that. Okay, bye.
Have confidence in the fact that you are who you are and you're still developing. That person choosing like a white girl over you, if their intention was the fact that you were not white, what's that say about them?
A lot.
I mean, the people are so sweet and nice and make me feel welcome, but I still feel alone. I want you guys to know I didn't read these before filming. You can have this big friend group make you feel welcome, they're friendly, like they're your best buds, like you're with them to the end. But there's always gonna be a feeling of displacement because you don't have anyone that looks like you. The advice I would give to you, and I'm sure this advice can be taken with literally anybody. Find a club or organization that is like Culture Mix, Black Student Union. If there are clubs centered around your culture, join that. If it's not with your school, go outside of that and see if there are programs, competitions, scholarship kind of programs that cater toward your race. For me, I got involved with this program called AXO, which I talk about in like every single video, but that opened my world up to being immersed in my culture and finally having POC friends and not feeling alone anymore. If you don't have any organizations, I'm sure there are Discord servers. There's so many TikTokers, so many people that connect you with your culture that at the end of the day, when you come home from school, you can browse through their videos so you don't feel less alone. Okay, ow, ow, oh my gosh, I have a pimple on my nose, child. Advice on staying black when you feel like assimilation is all there is. That is such a sentence. When you go to school, school is like most of your life. And whenever you're not around your culture a lot, it can a lot of times feel like you're losing your culture, you're losing your personal identity, and there becomes a contradiction all the time as to having to assimilate to survive in an environment where if you let go and be yourself, you won't be treated the same, as opposed to being yourself and showing off the culture that you love so much. And I'd have to go back to my other piece of advice about reaching out and finding organizations that are catered toward your culture and your race, just so that you have a place to express yourself and you have people around you that don't expect you to be shrunken. My dough dash is almost here. Okay, hold on. And now it's advice from y'all time. In addition to questions, y'all also sent over advice you have for people going to a PWI. So I'm gonna read that out. Don't go to frat or sports parties. They're never good. I've never been to a frat party. If I went to a PWI, I probably wouldn't go. I've heard too many horror stories about people saying the N-word during a song. I do not need that on my conscience. My advice is to stay connected with the BIPOC campus community. I second that. That's very good advice. All right, somebody said this. I like this. Until college, I went to a PWI, and let me tell you, I regret not having POC friends, because when I became friends with other POC, I felt more comfortable since they have the same struggles that I have. Moral of the story, surround yourself with people that understand your struggles and others that are open to learn and talk about it. It's kind of like therapy. You need people to talk to that understand your struggles, and in doing so, you feel less alone and you feel that burden lifted from you. Don't be scared to put someone in their place for ignorance. Yeah, it is, oh my gosh, y'all. It is so scary to tell somebody off at a PWI. Let's talk about it. We don't always feel like being Martin Luther King, Malcolm X in math class. Damn, that is tiring. I'm trying to fix this parabola. I don't feel like dealing with your racism right next to me. If it's at a point where it is bothering you and it is affecting your mental health, don't be scared to put someone in their place for their ignorance. I'm gonna tell you right now, once you do, it's probably gonna be really, really awkward. You probably won't have other POC or Black people around you to like second that or give you support or be behind you. You'll probably be alone in telling them off. But in doing so, you build up character in yourself and you build up strength in yourself to advocate for yourself. And that's needed anywhere you go in life. Pull up your pants and tell that person off for mispronouncing your name, saying weird jokes around you, for touching your hair, anything. And it can be as simple as this. If they reach to touch your hair, go, please don't touch my hair, thank you. And literally go right back to your work. You don't have to wait for their reaction. If they're like, oh, I was just kidding, this, that, and the third, ha ha ha. They're gonna gaslight you for feeling offended. That's just noise. You have the right to be offended. You're in the right. Thank you. Lynn Roller, which is Lynn Trelong. Ah, hey Lynn.
I committed a crime. What Lynn was about to say, I literally just did. I mispronounced her last name. This next post was from Lynn Chong. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Okay, let's go.
Make them spell, pronounce, etc. your name correctly. Do not settle for less. My name is pretty simple to spell, Taylor Cassidy, but I have friends where they've had to correct the teacher over and over and over again on honestly a very simple name to pronounce. See if the school has any fully Black classes and go. Best thing I've done here. Don't ever be pressured to fit in to a stereotype to fit in. Your culture is not a trend. You're not a token, and let them know it. I've even felt when going to a PWI, people automatically, whenever they see you, they expect you to be the stereotype of your race and your culture. If that ain't who you are, don't feel pressured to be that way. Make sure you have a set self-care routine and overall life routine to keep you grounded. Go to the cultural center and join cultural groups. No matter what you do, no matter how many friends you make, there's always going to be a burden and a mental toll that is taken on you whenever you go to a PWI. There are little things that you don't really know how to explain to people. Let me tell you a story. I was with a club that was made called MLK Legacy Club, and we basically did cultural events. Like, it was really fun. We put our hearts into it. We had like a director come who was part of the production for like a lot of Black movies. Like, we were a cool club, but nobody went to our events. Every year we had this like homecoming event where clubs would put together teams and like play little Olympic kind of events like tug of war and stuff like that. This was our first year doing it because we finally had enough people to make a team. There was, I think it was like soccer or something. It was some sports club. Basically, it was a bunch of white boys, white jocks. They were loud. They were like walking around like they owned the place, like they paid off all of their debt and they paid taxes or something. They look over to us and one of them goes, well, who are they? Who are y'all? Like, who are they? Somebody tells them, oh, MLK Legacy Club. They go, MLK Legacy Club? Oh, we're gonna beat them and just put the emphasis on our club. Like, why did you have to put the emphasis on our club? I think I know the reason. Like, do you know how that feels? Like, and we weren't athletes playing these Olympic games. It was kind of scary and like unnerving to have that happen. You weren't meant to look like them. You were meant to fully embrace you and stick out. You are gorgeous and handsome the way you are. Oh my gosh, somebody said, go crazy with the hairstyles. They can't tell when it's bad anyways. All of the times I learned how to do my hair, y'all will never see that footage. And nobody can say it was bad because they didn't know what they were looking at. Okay, everybody, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this advice spoke to your heart. And if you have school tomorrow, if you have school in the morning or school today, I wish you luck in your culture and in your identity, because nobody, and I mean nobody, can take that away from you. And if you have to assimilate to survive in that kind of environment, that's okay. All right? What's not okay is believing that your culture or yourself is less than because you're in this environment. I don't want you to take that with you. Please know that this period of your life is not forever. It's not always going to be like this, and you will find your people and find that peace. Okay? I love you so much, and you don't understand the amount of strength and mental fortitude that you have walking through those hallways being who you are. And that is amazing. It's something they will never have. You should subscribe to this YouTube channel. You know, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye. Pound it. Boom.